Marriage is one of the biggest commitments you'll ever make.
Entrepreneurship is one of the hardest journeys you'll ever take.
And when you choose to build a business and raise a family at the same time,
you face challenges most marriages never have to navigate.
We know because we've lived it.
We've experienced seasons of misalignment, financial pressure, and moments where growth tested our connection.
Not because we lacked love, but because building something meaningful together requires conversations most couples aren't prepared for.
Welcome to EntrepreMarriage. I'm Micah.
And I'm Mahogany.
This podcast exists to help couples build wealth
without losing the marriage.
Let's talk about it.
Hey y'all, what's up? Welcome back to EntrepreMarriage. We're real excited to come back to you on this Wednesday to talk a little bit about finances, a little bit about family life, and a little bit about who knows what comes out of our mouth tonight.
Yeah, we're talking finances tonight because we've had our journey of finances up, down, good, bad, but because most of the time I think we put our finances mainly in the future and we sacrifice a lot. I know that gets on your nerves more than mine, but yeah. So finances. So I guess I hear a lot of different things on finances in marriage. Like the one thing I always hear is joint accounts, split accounts. I have ran into friends who are married and they have 100% like split accounts and they put everything in the bill pay. Kind of how we do ours. I would say we have everything going to one joint account, separate out. We have a bill pay account, and then we have like our own, like, hey, this is how much we giving each other for the week.
Our own spending accounts.
Yeah, our spending accounts is what you would say. Yeah, we have a spending account. And then, we always try to throw something back at like investments, any debt that we have. We don't have any personal debt. Well, our houses and stuff, personal debt, but throwing anything back towards like going towards investments and things of that nature. But we've had a financial roller coaster. You talk about it because I know you've had more. The woman's usually always the spender.
Way to put me on blast, real smooth like. But so yeah, y'all, when we first started off dating, we actually had a joint checking and savings account before we ever got married. We realized that we were getting real serious about the relationship and we were both dedicated to the relationship. We decided to get a joint checking and savings. I remember that we would get our individual checks in our own separate accounts, and then we would, from there, dish out whatever money we had allocated towards the bills. Micah's always made more money than me in corporate IT jobs, and I'm in the social work field, and he would put more towards the bills and things, which was like a little clue that was my man, because I was like, look at him not making me split right down the middle, even though we're splitting everything. Like, he's like, I'll pay more. So that was a green flag for me. But nonetheless, we would get our own checks from our own account, and then we would divvy out the bill money, and we would then send money back to our own accounts, or like keep whatever was our percentage to spend throughout the week, or put towards our own personal savings and things like that. So we've always kind of ran a tight ship when it came to finances. I know I've said this before. When I first got with Micah, I remember he had like this bill pay book. It was like this 8-count book. I think I'm looking at one right now on our bookshelf, but he had this little like 8-column notebook, and he had all the bills in there, and it was all separated. And whenever he would get paid, I would see him in that little book putting down the expenses and how much things were. So I knew from the jump that he was pretty, dialed in when it came to the finances. Me, on the other hand, I did my best to keep track of the finances. I remember I used to get Wells Fargo statements, and I'd get on there and play with their little pie chart to kind of see how much I was spending and where my money was going. So I was kind of aware, but not like diligently aware like Micah was. I was more like, okay, I want to go to Ross and spend some money on an outfit tonight, so let me go see how much money I've spent so far. It wasn't like, let me go check on that just so I could check on that type of thing. So that was like our early on experiences when it came to finances. We have kind of like done different things with our finances throughout the years. I know we've tried different models.
Yeah, the first 50, 30, 20, we used to do that real tough, which is what, 50% towards your bills, 30% towards what you want, and 20% savings. Actually, we might need to get back to that. But yeah, we used to do that model. We've done we never did the Dave Ramsey envelope model, even though we're kind of Dave Ramsey.
Didn't we
people.
try it? We did try it for a while. I remember there was a time when we would get $100 a week or something like that.
Yeah, we'd envelope system for a while.
I remember that because I remember it did work out, but I always ended up swiping the card because that little $100 went fast in that little envelope.
Yeah.
So now we do have allowances of $200 per pay periods. So that just gives us a little spending money, which I think it's really helpful because when you have two people sharing one egg nest of money, it can get spicy if you don't have it figured out and delegated. Like, what is it? First come, first serve to the money if it's joint. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's important to also have separate spending accounts and finances, whether it be your Apple Pay. I know you like to use that system or account.
Yeah, we've been doing the Apple Pay thing for a minute. Like, we'll just transfer whatever to our Apple Pay accounts. Another thing, speaking of that, we used to do the Apple Pay thing. And then for a long time, back when like our Airbnb business was really popping, we was doing like the credit card system. Well, we still do though. We still credit card hack. Like, by the way, don't credit card hack if you ain't responsible. It ain't nothing to play
disciplined
with.
And stuff.
Yeah, you got to be disciplined. Like, we'll basically we pay all our bills on a credit card, and we get reward points. We either use them to buy stuff off Amazon, like if it's one of the like times when we ain't traveling, or we use it to go on vacations. Because I think we talked about like there was a point where we used to have so many credit card points coming in, we could take a vacation like every other month. But yeah, you just have to find what works for you. But I like the giving each other like the spending, because I don't spend much, and then we do keep money. Like if it's like a date night where we're both of us having, we'll like keep like a fund over there for that. Like in our big account, we'll like bet we'll just dip in here to go hang out, kick it, date. Because we dipped in it last month for Mahogany's birthday because we turned up. So
yeah, we definitely kicked it. When it comes to having a business, I found that handling finances becomes a little bit better in some ways, because not only are we more focused on the finances and watching what's happening with them, because you have a business to support along with your own personal spending and things like that. But something that's helped us is profit first, because the profit first method has really allowed us to kind of like pay ourselves through our business. And for me, that has been a big perk, because even when it's like, extra spending money, it's like, dang, this is like a little piece of, what I've been working hard towards, and you're getting like little pieces of it now instead of waiting until the business is booming, after a decade of hard work. But instead you're able to get like, I don't care if it's $40 a month and you're paying yourself from your business, or, whatever that might look like for you in your space. But yeah. And if you haven't read it, Profit First is a great book. You can get more details on that and like the breakdown of that a little bit, because I think it's something that could help a lot of people to implement.
I would say the Profit First is probably I ain't gonna lie, that's probably changed like our business. When I read that, like that changed like my whole mindset on business. But Profit First is like, it teaches you how to pay yourself from your business. It also teaches you the buckets you're supposed to have. Like, for example, we have a short-term rental company, so we need to have an operating expense account, a capital expenditures account, like the owner's comp account. That's what we get paid out of. OPEX. And there's like two more buckets. I can't think of them right now. The profit account and then the taxes. Yeah, it's like 5 accounts, but it varies by each business. But if you are like, I don't think we're going deep down the entrepreneur path of our podcast tonight, but if you are like a business owner, entrepreneur, use that method and use it to a T, and I'm telling you, your business will grow, because you can see where you need to pull back. Like right now, we know where we need to pull back, where we need to get better, and it really keeps an eye on your finances, and then you're always getting paid from your business. That's one of the biggest things. Then we also have our 9 to 5, so it's just like more supplemental income coming in. So yeah, we've had a good journey with finances. Like, we've never done nothing crazy. And one thing about both of us, we're both pretty frugal. Like, we ain't into like fashion. Now, I ain't gonna lie. Fun thing about finances is like, I'll go spend money on like shoes or a nice jacket, but I ain't gonna spend it for like another. I probably ain't gonna shop for like another year. For me, because this is not me. I'm not real big into shopping. That's one thing I actually liked about Mahogany. She's not real big into like purses and all that. She like, I don't know. We real I guess, laid back people. We like to travel. We like more experiences than items.
Yeah, definitely. Because when we're traveling, I like to stay at nice places, eat nice food, have nice adventures and things like that. So when it comes to the purses, the shoes, the clothes, like I'm a big hand-me-down queen. I'm a big thrifting queen, a big Ross Marshall's queen. And Marshall's really is on the high end if you're really, if you're really being serious. But, I've lived a simple life. I've always been just real kind of tomboyish, hippie-ish, and that's helped a lot. I'm not really big into diamonds and stuff. I went shopping last weekend with a friend, and she wanted to go into the jewelry store to go look at jewelry. That's not my thing. I sat at the door, come out. First of all, I'm about to go in and try on jewelry when there's a, security staring at me. I know I'm not going to buy anything out of here or even come back for it. So,
I've been there, man.
Huh?
Should have went up in there.
Why?
Oh, they treat you like, well, depending on what jewelry store it is.
Oh, well, I sat outside because I had the kids. I know some of them serve wine and all that.
Mm-hmm.
All that wasn't going on. But, I'm sure it's a good experience if you're going to something like that. But I was like, nah, I'm good. I mean, it's just not my thing. It doesn't excite me. I'd rather go, I don't know, to some other, what's that $1 jewelry store? Love it. Miss A's, y'all. I'd rather go up in there and just have a good time. But that's just me. Yeah. And
I ain't big into jewelry either. Like I have friends who are big into jewelry. And speaking of that, we went to, where did we go? I forgot where we went. Did we go into Rolex? I don't know where we went, but yeah, we walked up in. We was up in Dallas, and it was my first time. I forgot where we went. We went to somewhere, and my boy bought a $6,000 band. But they was treating us nice in there. They was pouring us up wine. I was like, oh, I could do this all day, even though I ain't buying nothing. But yeah, I'm not real big into even cars. I'm not big into. I just started wearing Jordans because I get them on sale. I just started getting big into Jordans. Now I will spend some money on some polo boots and some Timbs, but that's about it. I'm not into fashion. Never have been really into the shoes Jordans. I be seeing I have family members and friends who spend thousands on Jordans, and I'd be like, y'all crazy. But
I mean, if that's your thing,
yeah, if that's your own, to each their own.
That's your thing,
I'm too cheap, as my niece calls me. My niece be like, my uncle Mike cheap.
Well, I would definitely say when it even came to our wedding and stuff, as y'all may know if you've been listening, we didn't go all out, spend a bunch of money on our wedding or honeymoon or anything like that. We ended up putting our money into our home that we've owned since 2015. Mm-hmm. So, different things like that. So I think it's just really important to be aligned financially when it comes to you and your partner, even if you're dating or married, getting realigned on that page and things like that. I was going to bring up a point a second ago, but it completely left my mind. But it was something funny. Oh, I know you were saying we haven't done anything crazy financially. Well, I have a confession to make. I did something pretty crazy financially, y'all.
Oh, yeah. This is actually a good story because this is going to go real deep. Go ahead. Before we jump back into the episode, we want to invite you into something a little bit deeper.
If this conversation is resonating with you, it doesn't have to stop here. We continue these discussions daily inside of our private Facebook group.
It's called the EntrepreMarriage community, a space where couples talk openly about marriage, money, leadership, and entrepreneurship.
We're all focused on one thing, building the wealth without losing the marriage and doing it intentionally.
It's real conversations, real growth, and real alignment with people who are building just like you.
If you want to keep growing with us beyond the podcast, we'd love to have you there.
The link to the EntrepreMarriage community will be in the show notes.
Come tap in with us.
Join the EntrepreMarriage Facebook community.
So, y'all, I was all about woman power. I'm about to just be this woman, brick house of business, and I'm going to do it without Micah's help. I'm going to just build it from the ground up and just really just do it, right? Y'all, I spent $5,500 on a business and got scammed out of my money, our money, that I pulled from some, what was it?
Your
from
401k.
It was from my 401k, but it was from some stocks that I had invested in XRP. So I had pretty much cashed out my XRP, some of my XRP stock to make this investment. But yeah, y'all, this girl here in the DFW area along the lines of credit repair scammed me out of my money. And I remember talking to Micah about it.
Yeah, tell us how you told me.
Oh yeah, we were on a date. We went to this new wine place. Y'all know, if you've been like listening, this wine place we love to go to.
It's our first. We recorded our first episode in there too.
Yeah,
really bad audio, by the way. But go ahead.
Yeah, so I was there. We were there at Port, and I was, poured up some wine. And
she got me tipsy.
Got him a little tipsy, and I was just like, we were having a great time, and I was like, babe, I have something to tell you. I was just like, I pulled money out of my stock, and I got scammed out of this credit repair business. And he had to swallow hard. The vibe changed. The vibe definitely changed, but it really was awesome. I explained to him why. I explained to him that I felt like, I wasn't being seen within our joint business, that I had to step out and create a name for myself and income for myself and, legacy for myself. And that's kind of the energy I was on at that time. So to sit there and tell him that, he's probably sitting here boiling now, thinking about that again.
No more.
You good? Okay.
I'll tell you why I'm good. Go ahead.
Yeah. So that was definitely a lesson learned, because I know if I would have talked to Micah about it ahead of time, he would have helped me really scout out this so-called coach and would have helped me make a better decision when it came to making this investment, and really just make sure all the boxes were checked before I invested in this credit repair business. Not knowing much about credit repair to begin with, but I was, if you know, you know. If you know, you know.
Man. Yeah, I remember you telling me that. I was just like, and I wasn't mad in the moment. I was just thinking about it. Like, with me, whenever you tell me something, I need to process it. So I remember the next day I woke up, I had so many questions. I'm like, where did you pull this money from? Because the reason why was because I was really upset, because it was last year, wasn't it? Yeah, it was last year, because our business did really well. And I'm like, okay, bet. I was already trying to think of tax write-offs. I'm like, you didn't pull 5 out of the money. So I'm like, man, we got to pay taxes on this. So I was just like, what the So I was like, all right. So I started, but I ain't gonna lie, stuff like that. And this is why you have to learn to pivot. I was angry about it. I was hot, 38 hot. But what happened was I was like, okay, I need to find, I was already looking for tax write-offs, and that's how I actually found the short-term rental tax loophole and the cost segregation study. And I was like, yo, we need to just do a 1031 on a property. So we did a 1031 on the property, got the property, turned into a short-term rental, did a cost segregation on the property, and then it X'd out, basically canceled out our W-2 income. So then it looked like we took a paper loss, and then we were able, mind you, if we didn't pull that 5, we'd have got way more money. But not way more, but we would have got a little bit more back. But we didn't owe nothing. We got a nice little return because we used that strategy. So thing is, always be aligned. Always talk to your partner. Because the one time I spent like $5,000 on something similar to starting a business, I came and talked to her about it. See, it'd be women, but I'm playing. But no, I know we had a whole sit down. Like the only time I spent that much money was when we joined Springboard. Remember? Yeah. We had a whole sit down. And I was like, because I was gonna pull the trigger, but I'm like, nah, I'm gonna talk to her first. And I was like, look, I need to spend this. We gonna get in, and it's 10x this. You know what I'm saying? But everything's a learning lesson. Like you win some, you lose some. I've lost money too. You know what I'm saying? So win some, you lose some. But always be aligned. Talk to your partner. They said finances is the number one thing that people don't talk about in marriage.
And that causes divorce, they say too.
Woo, I can believe
finances. But it's definitely a lesson learned. I definitely also would say don't make financial decisions when you're angry or upset or thinking in a negative state, because that's the energy I was coming from when this whole situation came up with this business, so-called business. So we were in a real negative place. So, making decisions when you're in that negative place, whether you're upset or not, it's smart not to make those types of decisions without consulting with your partner first. Thank God, growth has happened, and Micah had so much patience with me to recover from that situation that it was it was a little bit tense for a second, a little hot. I had to sit in the seat. I had to sit in what I did and really just come to reality. But when I knew the scam was happening, I'm like, oh man, I just got screwed over. and I knew it. But to have someone that's like been, you know, he wasn't supportive right away, but you know,
wasn't supportive right away.
The fact that, you know, you came around, I'm so thankful. And now we could sit here and tell you guys this and go to bed and have a good night still. So thankful for learning lessons, you know?
For real. Finances is tough. Finances is real tough. But I'm happy, like one thing about us, and I will say this, before, like, if you dating somebody, before y'all get married, y'all got to be, like, on the same page as far as financials. Like, people used to call me crazy because I used to tell people I wouldn't date nobody for a long period of time. You don't know their credit score. Just being real. Like, and there's nothing wrong with someone having bad credit, but, like, let's say you have bad credit, like, and you just been out here buying Gucci and Fendi, I'd be like, nah, that ain't the person that you would want to deal with. And the reason why I always say the credit score is because it tells them what type of decisions you make, like your thinking process. And a lot of people get offended by it, but I don't care. I tell even my friends, I'll be like, yo, what's their credit score? Like, you know, a valid question, for real. But yeah, you got to be on the same page financially before you, like, get serious. You got to talk about finances. And another things, how we talked about arranged marriages last episode. Talk about, like, what were you taught about money as a child? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't really remember getting taught much about it. I knew about investing. I knew my dad showed us stocks, and then they had the real estate stuff. But that's, like, a few things. But those tidbits helped me further down the line. But, you know, those are important, tough conversations to have.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, in the comments, I'd love to know how y'all break down money in your marriages, in your relationships. Y'all got joint accounts, bank accounts. Everyone have their own accounts. How does that look? Has it been an issue? Have you ever made a crazy purchase without your partner knowing about it? And how did that turn out for you? And any other gems you want to drop about marriage and finances?
Let us know. Remember, like, subscribe, leave us a message. We are out.
If this conversation resonated with you and you want to go deeper,
join us inside the EntrepreMarriage Inner Circle on Patreon. You'll find the link in the show notes. And while you're here,
make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss future episodes.
You can also join our EntrepreMarriage Facebook community. The link is in the description to keep the conversation going between episodes.
Thanks for watching.
Until next time,
keep building wealth
without losing the marriage.